and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Now remember, once again, I'm saying all of this tongue-in-cheek because I am being serious, but I'm not being serious because these comparisons, they exist. And if you're honest with yourselves, you see those. You see these comparisons or these similarities that are there between these two little followings. So what I ask of you is that, for those of you, and you probably may have heard people say it, maybe you haven't, but there comes a point in time where a conspiracy is not a theory anymore. Conspiracy theory is not a conspiracy when there's facts, because eventually you have to come to grips with it's not a theory anymore. It's a fact. And you can't continue to dismiss the facts that are there. Now, a lot of what people say, they are opinion based because there's not much that you can go by other than what you see. And because this company is being so secretive and the people who represent the company to the community are so secretive, then you can only base what you believe by what is said, what has been done, what we see, and what we hear. So if somebody wants to say it's a conspiracy and they bring up facts, but all you can do is just, throw in these little, straw man arguments and argue about someone's character, about how they're worried about what another man does, then you are continuing to be part of the problem. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to look at the characteristics of the Illuminati, and then I'm going to compare it to the characteristics of this company and of the people that follow it. So, number one, within the Illuminati, there are many Illuminati groups with different kinds of secret knowledge. Anything you might say about them will be false for some of the Illuminati, but true for others, which only adds to the confusion and the mystery. When we get to bring it over to the Maddenati. Now, when it comes to Madden, we have a lot of people who go down to visit this company. And when they come back, they always talk about this knowledge, this secret knowledge that they're now aware of. That the only people who can know about this knowledge is the company themselves and the people who went down. So we're all looking out from the outside as, what's going on? We hear bits and pieces of things that they come back and they tell us. But and of course the community, the company is not telling us anything. They're telling us whatever they want to hear. But there's this huge level of secrecy, and the only people who are privileged to know this knowledge, this secret knowledge, are the company and their group. Number two, the Illuminati infiltrate and take over organizations of all kinds, from churches to the post office to the corner grocery store, and turn them to their own ends. Now, those of you who know anything about the lawsuit that was started by Jeffrey Cover and Jeffrey, I can't think of his the other Jeffrey. Part of the stipulations in the lawsuit was that this company tried to buy up a lot of, or tried to buy up its competition, and therefore becoming a monopoly. So, there's a huge list of companies or acquisitions that this company has bought out, from batteries included, Origin Systems, Drosoft, Kingsoft, Maxis, Tiburon Entertainment, Vision Software, ABC Software, PlayStation, Kesmai, DreamWorks Interactive, Pogo.com, Black Box Games, Studio 333, Newfix, Criterion Software, Hypnotics, Sing Shot Media, Headgate Studios, Digital Illusions, Phenomic Game Development, Hands On Mobile, VG Holding Corp, J2 Play, J2M Soft, Playfish, Firemint, PopCap Games, ESN. These are all companies that were bought out by this company. They took them over. Now, yeah, they bought them, but they took them out. So they were establishing their superiority by buying out or taking over other organizations. According to the Illuminati, they control the schools in order to make sure that young people learn to enjoy strange, tuneless music and weird, outlandish games, and they dress oddly. Over to the Maddenati, we see that they control what we see, or they control the outlet in the community, and that there are certain people that come out and then they try to make sure that mediocrity is acceptable. We don't, we see that people are being taught to just shut up and play Madden. That it's okay, that, you're wrong if you save 65. The best way to do it is buy the game that's not up to par, and that is going to gain more money for this company so that they can put that money into better developing the product, as if this company doesn't have enough money to do whatever they need to develop a proper game. Next, the Illuminati, they also try to recruit the best and the brightest young people as agents to ensure the next generation of the conspiracy. Now, I know many of you have seen a lot of up-and-coming commentators on YouTube, and they have a lot of knowledge of simulation, but they have been attracted to the sympathize movement. And, I would clearly call it, instead of a sim movement, part of the simulation community have moved over to the sympathize movement. And they're recruiting these guys who are great commentators, and they would be a valiant asset to the sim community, but they're going in the wrong direction. They're led in the wrong direction, and they're led to be the anti-productive or counterproductive to what really needs to take place and really needs to be helpful for change in a good game. Next, from the Illuminati, we see that a characteristic is their first means of dealing with opposition is to buy it off. To any group as rich as the Illuminati, a few $1 million are nothing. That kind of ties back, when we look back into the Maddenati, that ties back with them because with all of the acquisitions that have taken place where they have bought their opposing companies out. And they have also, we know that they tried to buy out Take-Two Interactive, which thankfully did not occur. But to a group like this company, they can afford, they can afford anything. And when I look at, who's affiliated with this company, we all know that this company has a business relationship and a exclusive partnership with, or not exclusive, but they have a partnership with Microsoft. And we see the corruption and the kind of things that Microsoft does, and how they were paying developers to not advertise their game on Sony's system, so that would in turn, I guess, make things better. That would add press onto the Xbox One. I mean, how crooked is that? That you would pay for companies, for a developer who is a multi-plat developer. How can you sit there and pay them to not advertise on another platform that they develop for? And these two companies have a relationship together. They have a business relationship. So you know that a lot of their what do you call it? A lot of their tactics are going to be similar. They're going to think the same. And they're going to be lock in step with each other. The next characteristic of the Illuminati is that those who can't be dealt with any other way are discredited or driven mad. How many times do have people within the sim community been called trolls because they disagree with the I Love Madden movement? How many people have been looked upon or called terrorists because they want people to align themselves with a tactic that can be beneficial to help bring about change? How many times do we hear people being discredited by attacking their manhood, by telling them that you're worried about what another man does, or you shouldn't be calling somebody out their name? How many times are people discredited because they cannot be dealt with using lies? They can't be dealt with using false propaganda. So what they have to do is they have to discredit them. Next for the Illuminati is that they control the news media. So you hear what they want you to hear about in today's news. And any event that doesn't fit in with their program will be quickly hushed up. Also, in particular, they control television. They don't permit intelligent shows to survive. They encourage mind candy that will keep people from thinking. The only reason good shows are permitted to appear at all is to convince intelligent people that nobody else likes such material, and that there must be something wrong with them. Now we know that how many times within the Maddenati do we go on a blog that is closed down, where somebody makes a comment, or it's a very articulated comment, or make a question, ask a question, and it's either not responded to by the bloggers, and we're talking about the blogs from the company on this company's site, or they just shut down a blog when too many people are bringing up too many issues about the product. They control it. They control what's going on, what's being said. And they shut it down. And the only way that something will survive, the only way that you go on this company's site and go to these long threads, are when they're just sucking up to the product. Just like their relationship with Microsoft. When after the release of this product, there were so many people that were up in arms that they just flooded. They just tried to flood the sites with their comments and their complaints. But what did Microsoft do? They shut down the blogs. And then, whenever it's time to have an interview with one of their figureheads, and they talk about the companies, or they talk about the feedback that they've gotten from the company, they're not going to give you like legitimate feedback or legitimate questions that most of the people are wanting to know. They're going to bring up the most mundane, stupid, simple things that nobody cares about. So they control the information. They control what goes out to the people. The next characteristic is they encourage resistance to authority among young people and political descendants to distract government attention from the real enemy within. Now, this is more from those people out in the community, those sympathizers, where we see that the real problems are the NFL and this company. But what we have people to believe, or what they have people to believe, is that the problem is not them. The problem are people like me. The problem, the people like, Apex. The people like J Music. The people like MD20. Those are the people that they act like are the problem, that they're the enemy, because they speak out. And they try to rally people together to speak out. So you get diverted from where the attention needs to be and where the target needs to be, which is the company in the NFL, and it's thrown back on the people that are trying to muster some change. For the Illuminati, we see that they suppress inventions which might change the status quo. The 100-mile-a-gallon carburetor, the perfect contraceptive, and the cornucopia plant are all lying in Illuminati vaults, waiting for the day when it will suit the secret masters to release them. What happened to the inventors? Bought off, intimidated, or just vanished? Within the Maddenati, we know that they bought out companies. And with this one, I don't really know exactly how much credit to give them. Because yes, they have suppressed improvements. They've taken away, just to put them back in later. But I really do feel like that they maxed out on their technology a long time ago. And they just needed for people to hold on. Just like with Live and whatever the name of the new game was, I can't remember, but Live was it was maxed out. They couldn't go anywhere with it. And so I honestly believe that they tapped out and they couldn't innovate anymore. So with this one, I kind of have to say that they don't really follow it too much, because I just don't think that they're able to make a better product. How are we supposed to trust that? When I hear people say, wait till next gen, it's going to be better, how are we to trust that? Because everyone who plays the game now can agree that this company doesn't have enough time between 1 year to the next to really put out that much improved game. We know this, and everyone understands this. It's just not that much time. But when we look at the amount of time that the specs and the information was released to the developers for this new system versus versus when this game is supposed to come out, we're looking at the pretty much the same amount of time, if not less. So we're then to say that so now, this company has enough time to put out a simulation product. What happened? What happened in the last issue, the last next gen introduction with this game? It clearly was not ready to be introduced. Next gen. It clearly wasn't on the level of next gen. So I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying that they're going to have less time to put this game out than what they normally have in order to improve from one year to the next. I refuse to believe that they're going to be able to come out with something legitimate unless I know that this company has a partnership with Microsoft. Maybe they decided to give them the specs early so that they could create or they could build a game for that system and have more time to do it. Maybe that's possible. They could do it. I haven't heard if they did. But that would be the only way. Otherwise, you're looking at a rushed product, a rushed game. And the last characteristic is of the Illuminati is that the next time you spend too much money to buy something you didn't want or need and it breaks in a week, you can be sure you've just contributed to an Illuminati fundraising project. Now, according to what some Madden sympathizers believe, that we should just pay for this broken product so that this company will then have the money to go out and develop a better game. But in common sense of a consumer, why would you buy a broken product when you know that it's already broken? When you know it's broken, it's pointless to buy it. Unless you just like buying broken things. And we have allowed ourselves to be fools like that. Because we have, or not we, but because people, gamers, specifically with Madden and NCAA and all of these companies' games, it's bad when the standard is the game comes out and then you have to rely on patches. That you're willing to buy a game that you know is going to be broken. You know it's going to be tore up. And then once it comes out, you're already hollering for patches because you know that they're going to have to start putting out patches. You're buying this inferior product, this incomplete product. So they're putting it out to you. They're putting it out on the shelves unfinished, incomplete, and you're buying it. And what you've told this company is, you know what? I don't have any standards. I don't have any standards of quality. I just want to buy something. I just want to buy something with those three letters on it. NFL. I want to buy it. NFL, this. I want to buy it. That's all you're telling them. You're telling them that they don't have to have a standard of creation because they're going to put out a game that's incomplete. And you know what? Going into next gen, from what everybody has been telling us of how long it takes to develop a game, think about it. People are saying wait till next gen. Wait till next gen Madden. So we're going to have a next gen game, which is supposed to be the criteria of whether or not people are going to, uh, you know, continue to support Madden or completely brush it off, we still see them playing the same games with you people, and they're having just about the same time to develop this game, if not shorter amount of time to develop Madden 28 on next gen, and what people are dying, people are rushing to get this game. I personally will continue even with next gen. I'm gonna stand by. I'm gonna save 65, and it's sad that there are people who ignore the power that Save 65 could have. And it's very fortunate for those of you who plan on buying the Xbox One. For those of you who didn't like all of the restrictions that were added to the game, um, you have to know that if it weren't for taking a stance like Save 65, that you would still be looking into having those same restrictions. Because if it wasn't for the people, the consumers, to refuse to buy and pre-order this console, they didn't even have to, the console wasn't even out. It wasn't that people just didn't buy the console. People were threatening just to not pre-order it. And the company, Microsoft, had no choice but to change the policies. Imagine if some of you who keep saying, Save 65 won't work, boycotting doesn't work. Imagine if the same people in the sim community were the ones that had to be that we had to rely on you, whether or not the Xbox One would still have those same restrictions. If we had to rely on you, those restrictions would be there because you wouldn't care. You would still be, you would be like, oh well, we got to do what we got to do. Well, you can't change nothing. It's going there anyway. Those restrictions would still be there because some of you have no self-control and or are too cowardly to go against the grain. This whole debacle that happened with the Xbox One is proof that Save 65 is a valiant, or it's an honorable way to bring about change, to get a company to change their methods. But until you all start realizing that, then change is never going to happen. Because you're going to go into next gen, and Madden's going to be just as laggy with the same legacy issues, and you all are still going to buy it. And you're going to make excuses, and you're going to argue and complain about it, and then you're going to turn around and buy it every year. Because what you could have done, what you should have done in Save 65, you refused to do because you said it didn't work. But it did work when it came to the Xbox One. But they were able to get rid of those ridiculous restrictions. Now, do I plan on buying an Xbox One? No. It was clear what their intention was. They came out, head all up, collar popped. They knew what they wanted to do, and they expected for people to just roll over and buy their product and to buy the Xbox One. And they were just flat out insensitive, arrogant, and they could have cared less. And we know that, and I know that they didn't make those changes because they wanted to respect the gamers. They made the changes because they knew, because of their bottom line. And if you think that if you think that they made those changes because they were sorry of the choices that they made, then you're stupid. All right, it's not good. You're naive. I'll change it because calling someone stupid is mean and it is uncalled for. So I apologize. It's naive. If you really think that they did that for you, that they made those changes. So I refuse to buy the Xbox One. And I think that all of the people that refuse to buy it, should they buy an Xbox One now that they've changed back those policies? No. I think that they should go, I think that they need to hit Microsoft and they need to hit them hard. Why? Not because they need to teach Microsoft a lesson, but because they need to teach Sony a lesson. So that Sony never gets to the point where they're like, let us try to do these things now. Let us try to institute these policies. The message needs to be loud and clear that it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable for you to restrict our ownership of what we bought. And some people, they're like, well, eventually, it's going the way of all digital. No, it's not. That's the direction that it may be going. But whether or not games go all digital is up to the consumer. It's not up to the producer because you know what? If people don't buy it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to go all digital if people aren't going to buy it. If you as a consumer don't buy their stuff, they're willing to lose money than to not make money at all. Or they're willing to make less money than to not make money at all and to owe. So people, you need to wake up and understand your power as a consumer. They're not going to, if you hit Microsoft hard, they're already down. They're already laying on the ground. And if you continue to hammer the nail in the coffin, then that one makes sure that this company knows never to try it again, and it lets the other competing companies know that you better not step in that direction and go where this company just tried to go. That's the attitude that you need to have as a consumer. But when you keep buying products that are anti what the consumer has the right to, and when you buy broken products, you're just going to be a slave to a company until you start speaking up. So we need to get these consumers from the community to continue to step up. And I will support Save 65 until there's change and there's competition or there's another name on the market. We need the consumers to step up, and we need for the Maddenati to take a seat. Which are you going to be? The consumer or the Maddenati? The customer, the informed customer, or the slave? This is Logan Oren, troll for truth, because the truth should mean something. Save 65.
This be calling me, man. Be calling me, man. I just gotta go